What's up guys, Gianna here, the reigning champion for Cool Stuff Games down in Orlando, Florida, and I thought I'd do a deck profile of the deck I use to defend my title. It's still the same deck, but it does have a few updates, so let's get this down on the road. So, this is a ZANBAKU deck, so we're still playing for ZANBAKU. He's a must-of. You want, ideally, if your opponent's going first and they have the first grade 3 ride, you want to ride ZANBAKU so they only have one gift for that game. So yeah. But if you're going first, actually, you want to ride Shirayuki. Now this time around, I'm running Shirayuki at 4 because at first I didn't believe in 11 grade 1s. I thought it was too inconsistent, but I did a bunch of test hands, I did test games, and 11 grade 1s doesn't change anything. 11 is just the same amount as 12. You're going to see it just as often. So I opted to run Shirayuki at 4 this time, and she's ideally your first ride target if you're going first, because you can make such a big push since you're an Excel deck and you're putting your opponent's grade 2 to either 0 or -1. So your lines don't even have to be that big. And then you're playing 2 of ZANBAKU. He's obviously more so your finisher of the deck. You don't really want to ride him first. That's the grade 3s. On to the grade 2s. Of course, you got to play the Arrestor package. 4 of the right, 4 of the left. Works well with ZANBAKU, works well with ZANBAKU. And ideally, you want to have it in your hand so that you could actually do ZANBAKU when you ride ZANBAKU. Most of the time you do, since you do have 8 of them in the deck. You have one or the other. But ideally, you want to see the left one over the right one, because that's the one you always want to call out of deck. And then you have Jikotsu Girl. Now, Jikotsu Girl is a really good card just because you can force your... Let's say you're playing a Protector or an Excel deck. You can force your opponent to 3 damage very easily just because they don't want her to go off. You could ride your grade 3. I usually like to call a booster behind my... not ride grade 3. Ride your grade 2. I usually like to call a booster behind my grade 2 Vanguard so that I can guarantee they take that attack most of the time. And then you could have 1 or 2 Jikotsu Girls on rear guard. If they didn't get a damage trigger, okay, swing with Jikotsu Girl. They're probably going to take the first one, and then they're either going to take this one or block it, which still goes into your plan of searching the top 7. And 1 search over 2 searches is alright, just because you get that extra damage in to help close out the game faster. So that's it for the grade 2s. On to the grade 1s, which we have cut down to 11, but it doesn't make a difference, actually. Playing 4 of Rainy Madam, because this does play the Shirayuki engine, which is really good. You're playing 4 of Million Rat. I really like Million Rat in this deck, just because it works well with Shirayuki. First ride Shirayuki, you have let's say you have a Million Rat behind your Vanguard. Counter Blast 1, put Million Rat into that Excel. Now it swings for 14 to a -1 or 0 Vanguard, which is really good. And then I'm playing Rakudo Slag. Play Rakudo Slag at 3, just in case, like if I want to, let's say my opponent's going first and I want to try and damage deny them. Rakudo Slag's a good ideal ride if they're on an 8K Vanguard. But also, I used Rakudo Slag all day in the championship tournament. He's just really good to hit over ideal numbers against the Force deck, or just hit key numbers against Protect and Excel. So yeah, Rakudo Slag's good at 3. I wouldn't play it more than at 3. The ratios are pretty set for this deck. And then, obviously it's standard. You gotta play a starter that draws you 1. We're still on the train of 4 crit, 4 front, 4 draw, and 4 heal. This is, for me personally, I feel like this is just the optimal lineup for Murakumos. Just because the front helps you hit ideal numbers, which most of the time you really don't unless you have a Shirayuki on board. And not the crits, the fronts do. And the crits itself is just Vanguard pressure. It makes my opponent have to constantly guard my Vanguard at 3 or 4, because what if he checks a crit? And there was one game where my opponent didn't think I ran crits because I didn't see any of my crits. And he proceeded to get critted at 4 damage. So, yeah. That's the deck profile overall, guys. Now, what we faced in the tournament itself, round 1, I believe I faced against, let me see if I can remember. I faced against OTT Witches. Now, I've never played against this deck before. I vaguely knew what it did, but it was still kind of protected matchup, so it was still kind of in our favor. We started out slow, but we did end up winning out both games in the end. And then round 2 was against Pale Moons. We did win that one 2-0 as well. Had some triggers to help us out in that matchup, which was very needed. And then round 3 was OTT Imperial Daughter. We obviously stopped them from doing their shenanigans of rewriting, so that really just got us the game. And then we weren't able to ride ZANBAKU in the second game, so that's what got them the game, because they were able to rewrite Endear Me. And then for the third game, we did get ZANBAKU and ZANBAKU lock off, so it just won us the game, even though we were in time, which largely made no difference, because I was at 2 to their 5. And then round 4 was against the Neonectars. I was trigger sacking like a god in the first game. I got off so many heals, so many draw triggers. But in the end, it really didn't matter. They went to the long game, thinned their deck out, and they checked 2 crits on me, and there's nothing I could do about it. They just had massive power lines. So that won them the first game. Second game, more or less the same thing, except less trigger sacking, and that got them the game. And then round 5 was a Pale Moon hybrid build that one of my friends down in my locals plays, and it really threw me off guard. I thought for a minute he had it, but I did have some slight advantage over his deck because mine was a little bit more consistent. So that's what overall won me both games. And then going on to Top Cut, I played against another Murakumo deck, except this is a Musashi Zengeki build. It wasn't the regular Shirayuki build. But we never really got to see that side of his deck because this is obviously ZANBAKU versus ZANBAKU. So you're not gonna ride into Zengeki or ride into any other grade 3. You're just gonna be on ZANBAKU for most of the game. First one I got to lock him down completely, and then a turn or 2 after that, I swung for my Vanguard, and this is the part where he thought I didn't run crit triggers. He thought I was on the 8 stand, so he was at 4, and he decided to no guard, and then I just proceeded to flip the crit that won me the game, and he was like, "Oh damn, I didn't know you ran crits." I'm like, "I thought you knew I ran crits." So yeah, and then going on to game 2, he was actually great stuck on 0 for a turn, even though he whiffed the G assist. He rode a draw trigger just to get the draw power, and I just proceeded to rush him, ride grade 1, call 2 more grade 1s, and he got a defensive trigger, but then I got a front trigger, which basically evened it out, put him at 3 damage, but he wasn't grade locked anymore. He was at 1, but I just had so much advantage over him, damage wise, and I just kept aggressing him. I didn't care if he locked me down at that point, just because I was so far ahead, and that would ultimately won me the game. And then going on to Top Cut again, we play against Neonectars, same player. This time around, we were able to win it out. It was a grindy matchup. Won out the first game, and I'm not sure. I think we went to 3 games, but second game that I won, it was really balls to the wall. I thought I was gonna kill him, and then he heals. And then he thought he was going to kill me, and then I heal, and then I eventually just won it out in the end. And then for the final round, I actually played against Bermuda Triangle. It's a very strong deck. $12.99 plus shipping and handling did wonders for my friend at Locals. And it was really close, actually. First game, really down to the wire. Then I did the complete lock, so you couldn't twin drive. And then we rode into Zengeki, and Zengeki is just really good against the trial deck since they don't have access to draw PGs, and that just basically what won me the first round. Second round, I damaged Zengeki, and I did last for a while, but I couldn't necessarily close out the game, so that's what kind of got him the win there. And then for the third round, he was grade stuck on 2 for a turn. Well, he did get a grade 3, but that's not the grade 3 he wanted to ride. That was going to be able to help him win the game. So he decided not to ride it. And simply that alone, that gave me the advantage of riding grade 3 first, would kind of like help me seal the deal for that game. And help me win it out in the end. And I'm still the reigning champion. Store champion, that is. It's not the biggest event, but it's something I was able to do twice. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. This is Master Beetle, and I am out. Later.